So Kari suggested that we think about 20 now for this.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Ryan. Good to meet you.
Yeah, you too. It's a pleasure to sit in the same room and shoot all the good stuff, man. Really, really cool stuff. You enjoying the weekend so far?
Just got started.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Flew in this morning. I wore my art.
Yeah. That was good.
And flew down a red eye.
We're gonna try that? Okay.
What's up, Bamboji Sola? We got a panel. It's about to start. It's Funimation plus Substantial plus Shingo 2 plus Cardi and Kirk, who played Fu and Jin respectively, and Samurai Champloo.
Hi. Hi, sorry for the wait. We're working on some technical issues with making the audio work, as you might have seen. So if you could wait a little bit, we'll try to get that working as soon as possible. Thank you.
There we go.
No, you didn't see any of that. It's working. We're starting here. Ready?
Sound my soul mental blade cut through flesh and bone. Though my mind at peace, the world out of order, missing in the heat. Life gets colder, oh yes, I have to find my path. No less walk on earth, water and fire. The elements compose a magnum opus, my modus operandi is amalgam. Steel packed tiny micro, chip on my armor, a silent roll pro. The ultimate reward is out and out of wars, and out with the towns of wars with no laws. Freelancer, a battle cry for hawk, nigga, fly and a teardry. Wonder why lone wolf don't run with the clan. Only trust instincts and be one with the plan. Some days, some nights, some live, some die in the way of the samurai. Some fight, some bleed, sun up to sundown. The sons of the battle cry. Some days, some nights, some live, some die in the way of the samurai. Some fight, some bleed, sun up to sundown. Substantial.
Crown ain't a master of the ceremony. No microphone controller, you but not a damn. See? So don't ever disrespect the homie world class. Like the holder born to raise an MD. No nigga, the party poppin' quick as in circle with vodka friends, so they gon' clap for me. But I ain't talking slick with the talk mastery. Listen, I get moving with a blue pen. Samurai Champloo, be damned if I can't lose. And if I did, I put two else together, make a W. With a substitute, all I do is win, but they clearly ain't your thing. Then again, you're more T-Pain than painting. I'm art personified, or heart magnified, about 105, no doubt, come alive. Some days, some nights, some live, some die in the way of the samurai. Some fight, some bleed, sun up to sundown, the sons of a battle cry. A what? A battle cry. Let me hear you say it. A battle cry. Yeah. A battle cry, yes Lord. How y'all feeling, y'all?
floats around in the air. Apparently might be a peasant, but sound like a grand royalty. Keep to the people and land loyalty. We witness to the body here that see sickness in this ocean of wickedness. Set sail to the sunset, no second guessing for each down with the spirit of Wild West. Quote unquote, coast down the tester. Time for the chosen one to find the best of. No room minds that ever grace to face up. Hemisphere with the fear fly over. The blue yonder, where the sky meets the sea and I meet the I am. Boy meets girl and became a man and serve the word too. See the day, the night, and the girl too. Some days, some nights. Some live, some die in the way of the samurai. Some fight, some bleed. Sun up, the sun down. The sons of the battle cry. Some days, some nights. Some live, some die in the name of the samurai. Some fight, some bleed. Sun up, the sun down. The sons of the battle cry. What? The daughters of the battle cry, what? It's the mothers of the battle cry, what? It's the fathers of the battle cry, what? It's the teachers of the battle cry, what? It's the students of the battle cry, what? DC from the battle cry, what? Otakon from the battle cry, cry. Substantial on the MIC. I'm Shingo too, thank you.
Going to start this battle. Okay.
Keep going.
I have to hold it very close to my face. So, hi.
Into your mouth.
Welcome to the Hi, welcome to the Summer Shampoo 15th Anniversary Panel presented by Funimation. I'm MJ Takahashi, an Associate Brand Manager at Funimation. Hi, I'm happy to see everyone here. Thank you all for joining. I'm going to start with a little news and announcements from Funimation. If you didn't know, or maybe you've forgotten, you can watch Samurai Champloo on Funimation. You can stream it on Funimation now at funimation.com/Samurai Champloo. And we also recently released Samurai Champloo in our classic series, so you can own it on Blu-ray and digital. It contains the complete series, all 26 episodes, as well as exclusive special features, including Japanese promotional videos, conceptual art, bumper gallery, Texas songs, and more. Available now on our shop at funimation.com/shop. So check it out, go add it to your collection if you haven't already. So I briefly have this short trailer that I have for everyone to watch, which I will play.
I've got video. Fine, let's get started. Are you one of those so-called badasses? Well, boys, you might think we're squad. Million is the name. You got that?
Just hold on, you two! What about the promise you made not to kill each other?
Yes, no matter how hard we try. Fate's gonna keep throwing us back together!
And so after hearing all this and seeing our trailer, if you might be feeling like you want to watch, if you go to our Funimation site, you can enter Otakon 2019, all lowercase, and get a free 1-month membership of our Funimation Now Premium Plus. So, got it down? Otakon 2019, all lowercase. Okay, and so now we're ready for our special guests. Okay, so please join me in welcoming our first guest, IQ.
I'm still trying to figure it out.
Thank you, IQ. And then we have Marcus D. And then,
How you guys doing?
and then we have Substantial, who's already seen us. Shingo too. You may know him for his work on Battle Cry with Nujabes. And with our music artists, we have also our voice actors. Please welcome Kurt Coleman and
Hey everyone. Thanks for having me.
And last we have Karis Waldron. Oh, here's your. That works.
I've never been that douchey person that like films something going up on stage, but I can't believe how many people are here. It's mind blowing. Thank you guys for coming.
And we have all our guests on the stage. I want to thank you all for joining us for this 15th anniversary panel. I'm so excited that we are able to have all of you and all our fans to celebrate the anniversary. So I think we're ready to get started on our panel. Yes, the questions ready. So, question 1. When did you first hear about Samurai Champloo and what was your impression? Like, when did you learn about the show?
Well, I guess I'll start. I had not heard of this show before the audition. So I went in and auditioned for the part of Fu, and when I got the part, it's one of those things where I just so quickly started falling in love with the show, and I couldn't wait to watch it just as a fan, as a spectator. And I want you guys to know that I'm fangirling really, really hard because over the years, whenever I go to these conventions and I'm asked about Samurai Champloo, I'm always saying how much I love the music. And so I was backstage and I did not realize that these guys were going to be here. And I literally almost started crying backstage. I'm like, I get to meet them. So it's just incredible because I think we knew pretty early on that it was a special show. And to be a part of it was pretty amazing.
We're just as excited on you guys too. Just to meet there.
Do you want to share how did you first hear about it?
I'm a student at UC Berkeley, and one of the first mentors that I met in the game was Del the Funky Homo sapien. And you know what I mean? Like, he still hasn't changed from the day I met him. He looks the same. He still treats me the same. He's a legend, absolute legend. And he was already a fan of animation, and that was one of the reasons he kind of took me under his wing casually. You know, I was over at his house translating video game instructions, and I was fanboying hard too because I listened to his album all throughout my high school years. And he was a big fan of Cowboy Bebop as well. So he schooled me on that way before I even had the opportunity, because what I'm talking about, my encounter with Del, that was like 1993, 94. And it was only 10 years after that fact, like 2003, I would believe, because this came out 2004, right? 2003, fast forward, I had met my friend Nujabes around 99, 2000, started working with him. So casually one day, he just emailed me, hey, there's this late night animation happening on the Fuji channel in Japan. Would you like to throw on a verse for it? And I was like, sure. And growing up in Japan, like a late night animation that's not prime time, right? That's really for adults to watch. So I wasn't really tripping on it that hard, like that it would ever be syndicated in the United States. But of course, I was very much intrigued. So that's why we ended up doing a Japanese song for it first. Then it was too happy, so we re-recorded it, and that became Battle Cry.
I didn't realize there was a happier version.
There is. If you know Nujabes' albums, there's a song called Horizon. That's a very happy piano beat. So I did a Japanese verse over that, and so that version exists. But somehow the producers wanted an English version, which I think was a great move in retrospect. So yeah.
Thank you. It is a great opening. We love it. Substantial?
Yeah, so I first started working with Nujabes in '99. That's when I first signed with Hideout Productions, and then went to Japan in 2000. And so we were just working on music for my release, and then later his projects. And but we never talked about the show, so I had no idea he was secretly working on it, right? And then one day I get the call, because at this point I was no longer with the label, but I was still collaborating with Nujabes. I get the call from my nephew, and he's like, I'm home watching I'm watching this show, and I could have swore I saw Nujabes' name in the credit. I'm like, what? And so I look it up, and then I see it, and I watch a few episodes. I'm like, first of all, this is amazing. Second of all, as I start to email Jun, I'm like, where were these beats when we were working on our stuff, right? And I saw Fat John's name and all the homies, and I just, it was a super proud moment, man. And it was dope to see like the homie living what was like a childhood fantasy of mine, because I've loved anime since I was young. So I was just kind of waiting for either the day to see hip hop with anime, or the opportunity to do it myself. And so for one of the homies to pull that off, I just thought it was amazing. I just thought it was the perfect marriage.
So my story is a little bit different. I came a little bit late to the party compared to Shingo and Substantial. But I currently live in Tokyo, and I also work with Nujabes' label, Hideout. And when I first found the anime, it was actually through Nujabes' music, because I had a friend who would give me music that I, on my iPod actually.
For whoever made the Fat John comment, he was supposed to come and then wasn't able to make it.
Under the artist name, and then the album, would say Samurai Champloo OST, right? So
Original soundtrack.
Right, original soundtrack. So I went to, at the time, it was TV.com, and you could actually go to TV.com and watch an episode of Samurai Champloo. I think you could watch 1 through 12. So I started with the episode Beatbox Bandits. And I watched the first episode, and I'd never seen anything that, combined hip-hop with anime like that, because I've been watching anime for a long time, and I've always been a fan. But hip-hop and anime combined in that way was something that I'd never seen done before, and done so well. So finding the anime through his music is the opposite of usually how people found him, because they would watch the anime and then see his name and find his music. But my experience was opposite of that, and because of that, I'm a huge fan of Samurai Champloo, and a huge fan of also the music in it, so like most of you are. So
I'll also talk about the unsung heroes on the soundtrack you were talking about.
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of times Nujabes gets credit for almost all the music on the anime, but Fat John, Force of Nature, Tsuchi, and Tsuchi actually did most of the background music. But a lot of his stuff gets credited to Nujabes because Nujabes has a much higher profile. So a lot of the things that if they sound chill or relaxed hip hop, they get, titled as Nujabes producing it with a misnomer. So I think it's important to look further into the music and see who really produced each track, because if you listen to it and you can tell their style, you can tell who produced it. because they all have distinct sounds, and I think that's a really big props to the sound director and Watanabe and everybody who worked on the soundtrack, because it fits the anime so perfectly, and those four people, or four artists groups who worked on it, made it something that's going to be remembered for much longer than just now even. So.
Thank you. And actually, I heard backstage that you watched the dub first, right? So it was.
I watched the dub first, yeah.
So it was Kari and Kurt, right?
Yes. So I'm super
Seriously
fanboying.
fanning. We were fanning backstage. It was the greatest.
I was telling her that I'm fanboying out right now. I'm trying to not fanboy too hard because I have a very strong emotional connection with that, because I've been able to go to Japan and live in Japan and make a living off of my music now because of everybody, literally everybody sitting at this table. They've helped me create my life, so I'm extremely grateful and really happy to be here and be included in this, and happy to be here with all you guys.
And we're happy that everyone here is joining us. Thank you. And then Kirk. So Kari shared that she learned it through her audition, but what was your first meeting with Samurai Champloo?
I can't even remember if I auditioned. I think they may have just cast me in it. Because I've been doing a number of projects for this producer, and he knew my work, but I came into contact with it before that. Not that I had seen it, don't watch enough anime, but I was one of the adapters on the show, and so when I got it to adapt it, they said, what every adapter wants to hear is, you don't have to stick to the literal. You can have some fun with this one, and you can bring it to life a little bit. Not that the original Japanese isn't brought to life, but you can flesh it out and make it more for liven it up for the American audience. And so as I was watching it, it just stunned me as I was watching this and starting to write the adaptation, that it was so different from any other anime I'd ever seen, using scratching to change a scene. I'm like, it's so great. It just throws you in. And what they did with the music to cut between scenes and to advance the story was just incredible. So that was what my first impression of it was. And then, if I did audition for it, all I remember is the first session where going in and laying something down, they go, no, give me less. I'm like, well, he said, okay, no, less. And then you never, as an actor, you never hear that with anime. They always want more. And so eventually, my performance was like, yeah. And the poor engineer's going, but
And hearts across America were going,
but I guess it turned out.
That's awesome to hear. I've seen your name actually in the credits as, I believe, script writer. So I was wondering if you would mention that. So.
Yeah.
That's awesome to hear. And then IQ.
So my first experience came from my local comic shop. I got any people in Brooklyn from the house, like in the house at all? So I'm from Brooklyn, right? And there's a comic book shop that would import, they bring in anime from Japan. So we would always be looking for really cool anime. And one day, because he's a b-boy, a big anime head, he introduced us to the anime. And what we liked about it was the fact that there was hip hop elements in it, and like being not too far from the hood, a lot of people really gravitated to the tapes, mainly because of the sound that started with it. And it was the first time that I'd really seen some type of representation of our culture in something that I loved, anime. So for me, like after that, I was hooked, and I knew that anything Watanabe did, I was with it. Like it meant a lot. And that was my introduction, and I've been a fan ever since.
Thank you everyone for sharing. I love to hear all these answers. Our next question is a bit more focused on Shingo and Kari and Kirk, but what was it like to see the anime come together? For example, to hear Battle Cry playing as you saw the opening, or to hear your voice with the anime, the dubbed.
Well, the way that we record anime, because it's already been put together in Japan, we go into a studio by ourselves and we just sync every single line up to picture. We don't get to perform with the other actors. So honestly, you don't really get to see the whole anime come together until the very end. So you just get these little pieces of, oh my gosh, I think that soundtrack's gonna be really cool, or hey, you know, Kirk recorded before me and I think he's doing a great job with his part, or Steve Bloom's doing a great job with his part, but you don't really get to see it all together until the very, very end. So it was kind of a special reveal for me because I was watching it like everyone else for the first time once it was all finished. And again, you know, we had little hints that it was going to be a special show, but once you see it all together and hear it, it was just really groundbreaking, I think.
Yeah. And Kirk, especially since you helped with also the script.
Review the question for me one more time.
Of course, of course. What was it like to see the anime come together? Since after you recorded it, you helped write it, or the script?
Yeah, I had no idea what I was getting into. I thought it was just, initially going in, I thought it was just another show. And especially as we started going through and I would see the scripts in advance, see that, oh, wait a minute, they're not paying any attention to era. They're breaking out of era with like the baseball show, and they took convention and said, no, we're throwing it out the window. We're doing what we want, and that was just fascinating. And also knowing that I was working with Steve and Kari, that we had this core that you'd get into the studio and you'd hear the other voice and you go, okay, I guess I got to step up my game because they're pretty damn good. And then seeing the final product was pretty amazing. How it all came together. It just kind of blew me away. I had no idea that I was going to be a part of something like that.
Thank you. And Shingo?
Yeah, for me, definitely just seeing the opening credits, the music, go along with the animation. Even in the condensed format of the opening scene, they do such a good job of representing hip hop, you know, ending with the vinyl spinning, and it was all represented very well, and I was very proud of that. That I could do my part, you know what I mean? And interestingly enough, like recently I heard a radio podcast of somebody who actually asked the director, Shinichiro Watanabe, about the current trend of how lo-fi hip-hop, how they coined it. It's almost like a fascination of the 90s hip-hop. It's like a throwback hip-hop. You know, for us, it was never lo-fi, hi-fi, just like the feel of it. But it's just product of our environment that we sampled records, right? That was what was available to us. So, and then you know, so basically Mr. Watanabe had a great year to pick these musicians, including Nujabes and Force of Nature, so on and so forth. Because you know what, like we're pretty underground, even in Japan. Hip hop is still underground, and I'm very independent as well. It's not like I'm famous in that regard, you know what I'm saying? I'm not signed to a major label. So I was very thankful that all of those elements came together. Like it's a very independent, gritty feel, and I had complete freedom on what I wanted to talk about because I switched from the Japanese content, which I thought should be more family friendly because it was anime, but when it switched to the English version, I just basically went in and wrote about my inspiration, about my ancestry, and my friends who actually forged swords in Okayama. And that was fresh in my memory, so that was all condensed in there.
It's an awesome opening, and I love how the animation comes together with your song too, and as well as all the other music. So our next question is, What is your favorite Samurai Champloo moment or memory? So, like looking back, which scene do you love watching over and over, or maybe you might have a memory working on the show?
I'm gonna study Beat Bandits, man. Yeah. Like, you can't get around that. I was.
Sorry, I don't have a stabilizer, guys.
It was stuck in my head. That's my favorite moment, man. And just to see actual beatboxing and it actually be authentic and dope. Come on, man. You can't beat that for me.
Yeah. I was literally over here like talking to Marcus, and I like as quick as I was saying it to him, you said it, and I'm like, damn it. It's I mean, you see hip hop in so much now, right? Like it's almost in everything. And people get it wrong, like so much in terms of the authenticity. And oftentimes when we say hip hop, people are just really referring to rap music. And so to see the show, like to see the records, right? Like to see scratching, to see beatbox incorporated, like to have it start with a rap song, to have like hip hop producers, to see Mugen do moves that like resembled like a windmill, you know what I mean? Like they had all of the elements of hip hop, like they really had hip hop culture all through. The graffiti, yes, absolutely. The font, I'm a graphic designer as well, so the font Brooklyn Kid as their as the main tag for each episode for the titles, like those details, man, is so important in terms of the authenticity of the show. And so, yeah, so definitely that beatbox episode, because I've been beatboxing since I was 5. So I saw that, I lost my mind. I'm like, is he beatboxing into the back of a sword? Like, go. You're the GOAT, greatest of all time. You did that.
I actually need some help with the name of the episode. It's the Hakone Gate one, where they get stuck outside the gate. Does anybody know the name of that one?
I think that's also beatbox.
Okay, right.
He's
I was
awake
gonna say
now.
Beatbox Band, but it won't be.
He woke up.
But Beatbox Band is like for a different reason though. I think just like a funny memory that I had of that episode was the fact that Fu and Jean were waiting for Mugen to come back and save them, right? And they're dead set on the fact that this is him coming over the sunset. And like he's finally come to save us, right? And then it comes up and it just like the song's playing. And it's like a really uplifting, hopeful song, like he's coming to save them. And then as soon as he gets there, it's the jogger dude. They had been jogging the whole time, right? And it's him again, and they're like, damn it! And then the record just right? And then at the end, when they finally let him go because everybody's high, they all smoked the weed got up in the air and everybody got high. So then they walk past the field where everything burned down, right? And the warrior monks and Mugen are sitting in the field, and they're just holding each other, swinging back and forth because they're all happy, right? And Mugen and Jean walk past, or Jean and Fu walk past Mugen, and there's like, this dude is sitting here high. He didn't come to save us, and he's just high as shit, sitting in this in this field, and that was just like the funniest to me.
We have to step in. How was it recording that episode?
Oh, I mean, it just goes to the character arc of all the characters. It was easy to be annoyed. It was really easy. I would say like one of my favorite things is whenever Fat Fu would pop up, because I love me some food. I love to eat, and so I swear even to this day, like when I get ready to eat something good, I'm like, ho ho ho, give me something good to eat. And it's just like that. I actually do my Fat Fu voice because I get excited.
Don't forget about the fat squirrel.
And the fat squirrel.
Okay, what is your favorite Samurai Champloo moment? Oh, memory.
I'm gonna do one that we were just talking about. I've got two.
And he didn't say that I was going to throw him under the bus. It was going to happen.
And I was embarrassed to say it, but I said, was it okay? In one, when I wrote, I I had to adapt Beatbox Bandit. And so they handed me the script and they said, oh, Cook, you get to write a rap in this one. And I'm like, maybe you haven't seen the white boy here? And like, I am the last person who should be writing rap. And I started doing it and I really got into it and I had a ball eventually. But then my son was also into freestyling at the time. He had been doing a lot of freestyling. So I said, can Sparky come in and lay this down? And so they said, yeah. So actually, that was one of my favorite moments, was getting my son in to do the rap on Samurai Champloo. And the other one had nothing to do with performance on my part. It had to do with the original Japanese, and I think it was in the baseball episode. But one of the Japanese performances, and it sticks in my head to this day. I love it when the Japanese speak English. Because the line was, Galuvi! And I laugh about that. Whenever I need a smile, I just think Galuvi.
Groovy, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Groovy. For those of you who need a translation.
And then Shingo.
Oh man, well, you know what? I'm just gonna say my favorite feedback has been how you guys have, watched the original airing and the reruns, staying up till 3 a.m. and you were like 6 or 7 years old, right? Like that was 15 years ago, man. And yeah, so I never really expected any of that, and yeah, I've just been blown away how dedicated the fans have been over the years.
It's amazing. I love the Samurai Champloo is amazing, and all you guys are amazing. Thank you for coming again to this panel.
Woo!
And so we have, I think this is our last question. What does the 15th anniversary of the Samurai Champloo anime mean to you personally?
Yeah, I'll start. So 2020 next year is also going to be the 10th anniversary of Nujabes passing away. So that's very significant for us. And doing these panels, obviously, and performing Battle Cry and other songs that we've all worked together is a way to keep his legacy alive. And there's a lot behind the scenes that is unsaid, but we love to keep it in the music and the good memories pressing forward. So I really appreciate on the same level that you guys are dedicated to Samurai Champloo. I'm sure a lot of you guys appreciate Nujabes' music as well. So definitely on his behalf, we appreciate you guys for being there too. Thank you.
Just piggybacking on what Shingo just said, I think a lot about our brother's his legacy and what this did for his career, and then our role in continuing to share the music with the people who love it. It's just it's truly beautiful to see, and just how it's kind of indirectly affected some of us as well. A good amount of the people who love the music I've made over the years, are fans of the show as well. I'm someone who didn't work directly on the show, but for so many people to get introduced to my music because of the show and my relationship with Nujabes, working with him since '99, and it's powerful to see. I think I know if he was still here, he'd be so happy. And it'd be, just overjoyed to see how many of you love the show, love his contribution to it, and that's it.
Personally, since I was a fan first of this music and of the anime, I think for me to be switching seats now and be sitting up here with some of my, childhood idols is personally something that means a great deal to me. And because they've been so gracious to include me, and I've been able to, make friendships and relationships with people who did work with Nujabes. and also the anime. I think it's created a huge genre even in itself, because a lot of the quote-unquote lo-fi hip-hop beat makers, I'm sure you guys all know the beats to study and relax to. So like a lot of those producers are directly inspired by Nujabes and Samurai Champloo as one, and a lot of them use anime and Samurai Champloo in their YouTube videos that they post with their music. They sample Samurai Champloo music. They sample voice clips from Samurai Champloo, Cowboy Bebop, everything like that. So the 15th anniversary, I think it's very monumental in the fact that some of the people that grew up watching it are now at the point where they are content creators, or they're making differences in other people's lives too. So personally being one of those people, I'm extremely grateful to everybody that worked on it and the anime in general. And the music is giving me a career, so I'm just grateful to be here.
Can I finish, Coach? Sorry to interject. But yeah, so the aforementioned YouTube/podcast that I was talking about, it was made in Japan, and they were just as confused, like, what is lo-fi? They were like, what is happening in America that that Japanese sampling culture and Nujabes, that they're like, I think Japan has something to do with this, because now hip-hop's combined with still shots, screen grabs of anime, and it's a certain aesthetic that's being exported out of Japan, even though hip-hop originally came from the United States. What is going on? And that was the whole context of it, and that's why they interviewed Shinichiro Watanabe. And I think the gist of what he said was he's just as, baffled, and he's surprised that it has happened, but he's with it. Like, you guys are basically taking it elsewhere that nobody ever expected, and that's very hip-hop to me. So it is animation in general that it originated in Japan, but of course animation was probably inspired a lot by animation from the States. So it's just a cross-pollination of cultures that keeps happening, but it's the people that are the driving force of it. It's not just by the creators of the content, and I find that very fascinating to me. Thank you.
I moved out to Los Angeles maybe 18 years ago to try to do voices in cartoons. So Samurai Champloo was really early on for me. And it's weird because you never know when you're doing something how it's going to affect people, or if it's going to stick around or last. So to be sitting here and seeing you guys and to go to conventions and now have Fu be one of the top 2 things that I still sign, to see people dressed in these amazing cosplay costumes, that is incredibly special to me. And it just, I think, goes to the power of what a good show it is, and everything that goes into that, the animation, the music, the voice work, whether you watch it, in English or the original Japanese. I mean, it's just a good show.
Yeah, piggybacking on what she just said, during the opening ceremonies, I was listening, and it seemed like every actor that was getting up there says, I've got a 2:00 panel. And so the fact that there were all these other panels going on at 2:00, and there's this many people in this room for a show that's 15 years old? Come on. That's pretty amazing. I mean, that says a lot. It just points out, how classic this show was, and how groundbreaking and just how different and unique and wonderful it was, and so that's my answer.
Thank you. And lastly, we have IQ before we get out of this room for the next panel. I can see there's probably a line back there.
Okay. For me, it means the world, right? Because I want you to take 1 second and look around you, right? Look at the people around you. You see people of every race, people of every color, you see people of every age. And the thing that I love about it the most is that it built an entire world that I got to live in, right? Like, I get to see you guys all around this country. And to have the ability to say, when people kind of, they take hip hop nowadays days and they use it as a thing to separate people, right? What I love about this is it has the ability to bring people together. And I love that so much. So much. This isn't possible without you guys, right? Like, but these dudes made this world a reality. And at the end of it all, right, we get to benefit, we get to live this life, and I mean even the culture in our lives, man. How many people do you know that rock with Samurai Champloo that you don't rock with personally? Think about it. So, you know, not to get all, but I can't thank y'all, I can't thank y'all, I can't thank everybody enough, because this is showing, right, what that world looks like. And it's every single one of you guys. And that is what this legacy is about to me. And that's what the show means. And 15 years later, look at us, man. We're here, we're strong, and we're together.
Thank you. Thank you so much, IQ, for the amazing.
What's happening 5 hours from now, IQ?
Say what?
What's happening 5 hours from now?
Oh, man.
Plug the
I'm
show.
over here trying to cry, y'all. I'm not thinking about that. I'm just like, okay, we're gonna keep them in, you know? So we got a show tonight, obviously.
Hey!
And that's at 8 o'clock in main events.
Woo!
You know, we also have a couple of other panels as well. So we have
Minnie's here.
Yes. Minnie is here. She will be at the concert tonight.
And we might have a special guest tonight at the concert too.
Say it again.
We might have a special guest at the concert too.
Can I tell them?
No, talk. Please do.
I was gonna save it for later, but since you guys are here, so there's another pretty popular show. It's technically not an anime, but it is animated.
Highly inspired by Samurai Champloo.
Yes, absolutely. So there's a show called The Boondocks. So the surprise is my good friend Asheru, who did the opening song for the movie. So he just texted me a little while ago and was like, "Yo, Otakon, right?" I'm like, "I got you, son." So yeah. So that's for you guys. So we got that for you as well. He's gonna come through and y'all get to hear Judo Chop live along with celebrating Samurai Champloo.
I was already excited for this concert, and now I'm just like, oh, okay, let's get it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for the panel. If we can do a quick group photo.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, stay where you are and. Okay, then we check. So let us know what we do.
All right, so nobody rush the stage, but feel free to stand and kind of angle in. Our photographer over here is going to get the entire crowd, so if you want to wave, make noise, whatever you want to do, it'll be all of us together. Sound good? Yeah. Great.
Hey, Substantial. You want to close this out?
Yeah. Hey, thank y'all for tuning in. I hope y'all enjoyed it, man. That was exclusive for y'all. All right, see y'all at the show tonight. Peace.
Yo, how do I turn this off?
Oh, here you go. You pass it.
My bad.
We're still live. It's cool. It's cool. Say, hey, everybody, thank Kadesh for holding it down, man. All right, peace.